Hey everyone, we are back in New York, and this is a great time to give a little update on the hardy citrus trees that we have up here. I believe it was a very mild winter up here as well. I don't think temperatures really got below the teens, but we were able to confirm, at least through this very mild winter, that Dunston citramelo can survive here. Again, that is tentative. It was a very mild winter. We're going to see in future winters how it does, but I'm actually glad it's first winter as a grafted portion of this tree here that it was milder, because it gives it a chance to grow and thicken up so that in future winters it might be able to take the cold a little better. I do prefer the plants to be a little thicker before they are thrown out into the severe cold. But you can see here, I mean, there's a lot of vegetation around it, but this tree is doing really well. It's a lot bigger than our first video where we talked about this, and I believe I had a video where we had spotted our first kind of wild trifoliate orange here in New York, and at the end of the video I showed this little thing here, this little seedling we had dug up, chopped up a bit, and grew here. So a lot of the original grafts are doing really good. I believe this is one of them here, and while it's not fruiting this year, based on the amount of lateral growth that is coming out of here, it just looks like it's going to fruit the next year. I've seen this before where that kind of first big long sucker here, it'll just grow and grow and grow, and then the second year it'll put out all this lateral growth, and then in the third year all of these will be loaded with flowers and fruits. At least that's the idea. I've seen it on mature trees. We'll see how this graft performs here on this smaller tree. But we could see that original graft point there healed up very nicely, and there's some other small ones there. This is our, let's see if I could get that to focus better. Oh, having a little trouble there. This is our Dunston. Alright, it's a little better from this view here. So you can still see where that approach graft healed up nicely there, and we can follow that all the way up and through to the top here. So looking very healthy and nice, has nice fragrant leaves that are larger and discernible from the trifoliate orange around it. You can see actually a unifoliate leaf there. This is one where I don't know if it'll take a little longer to reach a fruiting stage. I'm not confident based on the growth I'm seeing that it will fruit next year, but we'll see. Either way, it's great to have, and I can actually use this as a backup if I need extra Dunston citramelo scions, because I actually took one and will be grafting out more of our mother trees in North Carolina with budwood from this tree. So some of these surrounding branches, these are all the trifoliate orange that we had spotted originally. It had a really good, well, really good might be an overstatement. It had a good fruit quality compared to a lot of other trifoliate oranges that we've tried, and I do think it made a very acceptable juicing fruit or a processing fruit. Now in some of these other branches that weren't necessarily grafted, but interestingly enough, even this seedling is showing a similar growth habit where I wonder if we'll even try fruit from the seedling itself as well as the grafted trifoliate orange. So that's something interesting. But on the ends here, I did graft US 942 and 5-star citramelo using a combination of cleft and approach grafts, because that's what seems to work best for me. Same here, I have some Swingle citramelo we grafted onto here, so we'll see how those do, and a little more US 942 and 5-star, just kind of pairing those two together. I'm expecting those to be pretty hardy here. Down here we have a single dragon lime. This was actually, it's not a T-bud graft, but it was some type of bark graft where I kind of made a T cut and inserted the scion into that cut there. So it's a smaller caliper one. I took off a seedling that actually had root rot that I had grafted with the dragon lime, and the dragon lime grew a little bit before it had that root rot. So we are rescuing it and having dragon lime up here at the same time. Another Swingle graft over there, and down here, this is purely experimental. Let's see if we could get you a little closer. Very thorny here. That is Trifiola Now this is one I'm excited for. It might be too late ripening for here, let alone in North Carolina, but maybe it would make a good lime substitute. But I had leftover scions from the CCPP, the Citrus Clonal Protection Program, so a little pricey, but I got myself some rare budwood for the trifiola so we could eventually have our own inventory and maybe offer these for sale from seed or cuttings, grafted plants, and so on. But it is a Tangelo and trifoliate orange hybrid. Now, I really like Tangelos as a normal fruit. I think they're very high quality, so I imagine those combined with trifoliate orange might not be the worst, and if anything, it could be one of the better 50-50 hybrids. So this is our plant as a whole. Looking really, really good. Has a good size to it, and it's reaching maturity. Now cut to over here, we have the trifoliate orange grafted onto the flying dragon. Now this is a smaller plant. We originally had this rootstock from Stan McKenzie because we were trying to have a 50-50 between a New York and a southern variety of trifoliate orange. It ended up being the case that only the New York one did really well, which you can see here. This was some form of cleft graft. It might have been a modified cleft graft, but one of them did well, the other we cut back down. And you can see now about over a year later, we're looking at a year and a couple months here, it's flushed out pretty nicely. It's much more compact, of course, not only being a smaller rootstock, but also more dwarf. So I thought this would be a good host for our remaining dragon lime scions here. So we got one there and one there. And by the next time we see this, hopefully we'll have at least one succeeding here, because I feel like dragon lime would look really cool with this dwarf stature and the growth habit of the flying dragon. So this would be a nice combination here, and this is a good spot that gets lots of sun right here next to one of our fig trees as well, and that is Chicago Hardy there. So that is our little update here. We got our big tree and our small tree. This one might be a bit away from reaching a fruiting stage, but it would be really cool to see on a smaller tree, especially with the combination of dragon lime going in there too. But that's all we have here that is surviving in New York. Fingers crossed that I'm actually hoping that we get a little bit of a colder winter this time around so that we can put these to the test a little bit more. But either way, it's cool to have a reserve of these varieties up here and kind of test them differently and see how they grow differently in a warmer and cooler area. So I hope you guys appreciate this little update. I will be announcing the giveaway winner soon, so stay tuned for that if you entered for that, and I will talk to you guys then. Have a good day. Bye-bye.